大家好，欢迎大家收看华人工商安娜看法节目。不知道大家有没有听说过一个学校叫做北新泽西大学？它曾经是一个正规大学的样子，网站、社交媒体，甚至是办公室都一应俱全。可实际上呢，它是美国政府设计的一个陷阱。今天我们就要聊聊这个曾经轰动移民圈的案件啊，为什么会有这样的一所假大学呢？它又是如何运作的？又给我们华人学生带来了怎么样的冲击呢？更重要的是，这个案例告诉我们什么？好，今天我们一起来听听安娜律师楼的创始人安娜戴米奇 Anna Demichik 的详细解析。Anna, it's great to have you with us today. Thank you for taking the time to join us.
It's great to be back. Thank you for having me.
安娜，我想请问一下您啊，能不能给我们大家简单的介绍一下这个北新泽西大学到底是什么呢？为什么它会成为美国移民史上一个这么有影响力的案件呢？ Could you briefly tell us what the University of Northern New Jersey was and why it became such a significant case in U.S. immigration history? Anna.
Of course, happy to tell you. So University of Northern New Jersey was a sting operation by the Department of Homeland Security. It was an operation essentially to catch people engaging in immigration fraud. But what actually happened is not only did they catch people who engaged in immigration fraud, but they also victimized a lot of people who never meant to engage in any immigration fraud. And why is it important? Well, it's important to know that the US government occasionally does this sort of things and to be vigilant. It's important to understand how they pulled it off. And also the lessons of it, I think are quite important because as I'll describe in the end, I believe many people ended up getting justice.
好，非常感谢安娜的介绍哈。但我们都非常的好奇，美国政府为什么要设立一个像北新泽西大学这样的假大学呢？他们到底想要达到什么样的目的呢？ Anna, why did the U.S. government set up a fake university like University of Northern New Jersey? What was their goal?
So the goal was to catch brokers and lawyers who were helping foreign students, obtain F1 visas fraudulently. And they thought, the government, the DHS thought the best way to do it is to set up this scheme where the brokers and lawyers would know for sure that the university was fake. And so that way they would have all the recordings and all of the proof that they need to make a solid federal case. So that's what they did. That's what they ended up accomplishing.
那我们也非常的好奇啊，这个政府到底是怎么样让这个北新泽西大学看起来如此逼真的呢？ How did the government make University of Northern New Jersey appear so real, Anna?
Oh, that's quite a topic because honestly, when these cases started coming to me, the cases of mostly students who got caught into that, and I started looking at the University of Northern New Jersey myself, I could not believe my eyes. I think me, an immigration lawyer, could have also easily been misled into believing that this was a real university. And so what they did to appear real, not only did this university have a great website, it looked completely legitimate. They also were registered with the Secretary of State in New Jersey, which is what any companies and any corporations and any entities are required to be doing. But not only that, they also registered in the CCYPus system. And for those familiar with student visas with international students, CCYPus is basically the main record system of all international students and their status. And so if anyone went to check if this university was legitimate in the system, they would have found it. And in addition to that, they also had social media presence. They had reviews online. Now, keep in mind, the operation started in the year 2013, right? So over 10 years ago, when there was already some social media, there were online reviews, but there were fewer chat groups, and I think there were also fewer forums where students could go and chat with other students about the situation. There were a lot fewer community groups. So there was this appearance on the social media that it's a legitimate university, but there were really fewer ways for the students to verify whether it was a legitimate university indeed. And also this university had a campus. So for the students who, especially the ones who were out of town, and the University of Northern New Jersey was in a small town, it was not located in any large city. For the students out of town or out of state, it was literally impossible to find out that it was not a real university until after they enrolled, which is very important because once they have enrolled and they changed their record in the service system, it started showing them as those people participating in fraud, essentially, right? But not before. And I think this is the part that really victimized the students.
好，非常感谢安娜律师的介绍啊。那些不知情的学生呢，就读了这所虚假大学的学生之后，后来到底怎么样了呢？What happened to the students who unknowingly enrolled in this fake university, Anna?
Well, they unfortunately ended up with their student visas canceled, and many were placed in removal proceedings. And for many years, there was not much anyone could do until the development and the story is basically when the class action lawsuit was filed.
那我们也非常想知道啊，这个北新泽西大学的卧底行动最终的结果到底是什么呢？What was the outcome of the University of Northern New Jersey undercover operation, Anna?
So the government did catch over 20 people who were the brokers and lawyers, and most of them pled guilty, from what I understand. So essentially, the government accomplished what it set out to accomplish, which is catching those individuals who were in fact perpetuating real immigration fraud. And then another outcome, like I said, lots of students, student career and student status has been ruined, unfortunately.
那我们也了解到啊，有学生的代表提起了诉讼，诉讼的结果到底是什么呢？We heard that the students filed a lawsuit over this case. How did that turn out, Anna?
So eventually, the lawsuit turned out quite well. It was a class action lawsuit. It was an action by the majority of the students, and it was started in 2017. The lawsuit took 5 years to develop, but finally, in 2022, the government agreed to a settlement. And in that settlement, the government agreed to reverse all of the adverse actions taken against the students' visa and status. And the government agreed not to hold anything that transpired against the students unless there was direct evidence of specifically students' wrongdoing and knowing that it was a fake university. But for those students who, like I was describing earlier, enrolled and only then found out that it was indeed a fake university, the government agreed not to hold any removal orders against them, reverse all the removal orders, and not to hold the break-in status against those students. The government also agreed to pay the plaintiff's attorney fees, which amounted to close to $500,000.
好，非常感谢安娜律师给大家详细介绍这个案例啊。安娜律师，我想请问您到底会给移民或者是国际学生什么样的建议呢？帮助他们避免类似的情况？What advice would you give to immigrants or international students to help them avoid a situation like this, Anna?
It's really hard to tell in the situation precisely like this one. Because, like I said, this University of Northern New Jersey looked 100% legitimate until the students enrolled. And only after they enrolled were they able to find out that they could not actually enroll in classes. And unfortunately, a lot of times immigration laws, they don't really leave much room for intent. That means that immigration law oftentimes does not really care if you plan to break the law, if you did not plan to break the law. It's like you broke the law and that's it, right? It's been violated and it's going to be held against you. So it's hard to advise what to do specifically here, except maybe either actually go to campus and go to campus during the time where classes are supposed to be happening and see if the classes are indeed taking place, or send a trusted friend to go and do that. Right? That was probably the only thing that students were able to actually do to protect themselves, which is, I would say it's much further than most people would go in verifying the information. But so yes, doing that, doing the legwork, I guess. Also, I think today it's possible to maybe try to find at least other students who are in that university, because like I was saying earlier, today there are a lot more forums and a lot more chat rooms and a lot more community online resources where people share information. So today it may be a little bit easier to get a hint that maybe some places is a little off and something is not going right. So do a more diligent online search maybe. But again, it's really hard for me knowing how far the DHS went to make that University of Northern New Jersey look legitimate. I don't know if the DHS would also pause as fictitious people and try to convince everybody in those forums that the place is legitimate. So I guess legwork is the one thing you can do to protect yourself. And then everything else is post factum. I would say retain a lawyer and document. Do your best to document that you tried to change your circumstances. It could really help later on.
好，非常感谢安娜律师给大家的提醒啊。回头来看北新泽西大学这个案例，对美国移民政策和移民的个人到底有哪些启示呢？Looking back, what lessons does the University of Northern New Jersey case offer for U.S. immigration policy and immigrants, Anna?
So I think there are several main lessons here. So lesson one is it's important to know that the U.S. government does this sort of things. And I want to stress out that the operation, this University of Northern New Jersey operation, like I said, started in 2013. It was still during Obama, right? The phase where they made it clear that it was a sting operation and they went and they arrested agents and lawyers and they closed the university and then they went after the students who were enrolled. That phase was in 2016 and 2017. That was basically already during Trump, but the whole operation was conceived and planned and organized during the Obama administration, unfortunately. It looks like multiple administrations are capable of engaging in this sort of thing. It's really more on the Department of Homeland Security than maybe a specific president. So just because we have a president who might not be as scary as the incoming administration does not mean that we should all relax and start trusting the government. That's not the way to go. So that's lesson one. Lesson two is that it's, after all, I believe, possible to get justice, right? It may be hard, it may take a number of years, and it could still be quite heartbreaking. But in the end of the day, if you've been wronged, you can get justice, even if you have to fight with the federal government. And that's what we've seen happening in the year 2022.
好，非常感谢安娜律师的介绍哈。关于这个案例呢，您还有什么其他想要补充的吗？ Is there anything else you'd like to add about this case or its implications?
Well, I think one set of implications that people tend to forget is how much heartache it brought to the students who lost their opportunity to continue their studies in the United States. You know, a lot of people think that international students are all very rich and money doesn't matter to them, and maybe some are, but the majority of students I'm meeting are extremely hardworking individuals whose families invested heavily in their education. And so when something like this happens, it's really the entire family's fortune that basically goes down the drain, and the young people lose the chance to continue in their chosen career because the government decided to throw this type of curveball towards them. My heart really goes out by people who were impacted by this. And I hope we don't see this sort of operations anymore.
好，今天非常感谢安娜律师楼的创始人安娜戴米奇 Anna Demichik 给我们大家分享这么一个美国设立假大学的案例啊。它不仅仅揭示了移民系统当中的复杂性，也让我们看到了留学生和移民在追求梦想时很有可能面临的潜在风险。今天再次感谢安娜律师，也感谢大家的收看，我们下期节目再见。